Good morning. How is everyone? It is the last day of the Stitchalong. I cannot believe it's been 2 weeks already. Ooh. Just had to go and get a prop for later. Okay, so today, as you already know, because I've already told you, is French knot day. So the only thing we have left to do is the French knots in the ring around the pink flowers we did yesterday. We're going to learn the pistol stitch as well, which is just like a French knot, just like an elongated one. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Yeah, that's it. And then we're going to close up the back of our hoop and we'll all be done. So when I teach French knots, I don't think anyone else teaches them like this because, hi George, because I do this grid method, and the grid method is so great because you can literally see how small they can get or how big they can get. And I feel like I teach them really well. Bom dia. Hello. Good morning. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make our grid. So up at the top, you have wraps. This is how many times you're going to wrap your thread around your needle. It'll all make sense in just a minute. Bom dia to you too. And then over here, we have 1 strand, 3 strands, and 6 strands. Now, I like to do just this much here in the live because it does take not a long time, but to explain it all and stuff, you know? But I really encourage you to do 1 strand, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because then you'll get a whole range of how small they get to how big they get, depending on how many strands and how many wraps. So if you have the time, add in the other ones and then just do a couple, because I feel like sometimes you'll already have 3 strands of thread on your needle, but you want a really big, like, chunky knot. Yeah, you can easily pull out your grid and be like, okay, so I need 3 strands, 3 wraps. Or if you've got 2 strands left over, you can go, okay, with 2 strands, I can make a knot this big. And it's really easy to be like, boom, done. And you don't have to, like, make a mistake by doing it. So I've got a clean hoop here. I'm not going to zoom in too much because you need both of your hands. So I'll show you the right-handed method and the left-handed method because I can do them both ways. So hopefully that will cater to everybody. What else? I think that's it. So we've got 1 wrap, 2 wraps, and then 3 wraps here. And then we've got 1 strand, 3 strands, and 6 strands here. And then if you want to make the lines, you can. You don't really have to, but if you really want to, like, separate them out, then you can separate them out like this. It's always difficult to make the lines when you don't have anything to put your hand on. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3 strands. And I will zoom in a little bit because you do need to see both my hands, but you need to see what they're doing. So, because you will use both. That's probably close enough. Okay, I'm going to start with 3 strands and just show you how to do it. Now, when you have the thread for your French knots, it doesn't have to be as long as you would if you were to do like a satin stitch or whatever. Start with a nice, not too long. Of course, I pulled this one way too long, but start with a nice, like, shorter piece so you don't get any knots before you do your French knot. Okay. We're going to go up from the back, and we're going to do 3 strands because I've already separated it. And I'm just using the same color that we're going to use for the middle of the pink flowers here, and this one here, and then these here if you want to do it. You don't have to make them all yellow. You can make them mix and match any colors you want to, of course. But I'm just going to use this one. It's $2.92, and it's like a nice sunny yellow. I quite like it. Okay, So we're going to come up from the back like this, pull it all the way through. You do need to have a knot. So if you're one of those people that don't like doing the knots at the beginning, you like to do all your knots at the end, you like leaving a tail, definitely do a knot for this one at least. Okay. Now you're going to take your thread in your left hand, not tightly. You don't want to see it pull like that. You just want to have it loose because this is what we're going to wrap our thread with around the needle. And put your needle on top like this. Wrap it around one time, just loosely. If you have something like this and there's a lot of tension, no. Okay, you just want to have a nice loose wrap. And then put your needle down right next to, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more actually, right next to where you came up. You don't want to go through the same hole. Can you? Of course. But you run the risk of the knot pulling through the hole and onto the back. So you have nothing on the front, if you know what I mean. So you want to go down just right next to it. And this right here is the most important part, okay? Don't let go of this. And what you need to do, this is very tight, is shimmy this knot all the way down the shaft of the needle so it's on the fabric and touching the fabric. This does not have to be tight, okay? You're just going to pull it lightly so that it's all the way down, and it should look, oh my God, this is so tight. It should look like this, okay? Now don't let go like I am. I'm just doing this for demonstrative purposes, okay? So you've got your knot at the base of your needle, touching the fabric. You're going to hold this here, or you can pick your hoop up and put your thumb over this thread, but don't let go, okay? This is important. And you're going to pull your needle through. Don't let go of that thread with your thumb. Don't let go until it's almost done. See, and then you can let go and pull it through all the way. Okay? Let's do it again, because I know there was a lot of things I was like, make sure you do this and make sure you do that. So we're going to go through the back like this. Hold this in your left hand. Needle over the top with your right hand. Do your one wrap, because we're in the one wrap column, yeah? Needle down right next to it. Shimmy the knot down. Hold the thread. And pull it through. Okay? Do I have everyone still? God, I hope so. All right, let's do it with our left hand. So if you're left-handed, you're going to swap. So you're going to hold your needle in your left hand. You're going to go, coordination, Tori. Come on, you can do it. Whew. It always just tricks your brain, doesn't it, when you do things a little bit differently. So you're going to hold the thread in your right hand if you're left-handed, and your left hand holds the needle, and you're going to wrap it around, okay, and go down right next to where you came up. Shimmy that down and keep hold, all right, and pull it through. So the reason that we hold our thread like this right here is because a lot of times you can get a knot before you make your French knot. So all the extra thread sometimes can get sucked down in there, or it can be made into one of these kind of loopy kind of knots. And then you're going to have to stop everything, undo the knot. It's a mess. The other thing is that you really can't, you know, like with satin stitch, it's really easy to just pull out the knot. Yeah? So not the knot, the thread. So like if you mess up here, you can just take your needle and pull it out. With the French knots, you really cannot. It's really difficult to undo a French knot if you've messed up. So definitely practice if you can. And the best way to practice is to make one of these grids. So we've done the 3 strands in one wrap. Let's go over to 2 wraps. Now, 2 wraps is just exactly the same. Yeah? So put your needle over the top. 1, 2. Okay, did that quite fast. So 1, 2. And you put it down right next to you, and then shimmy that knot down. Now, the biggest problem that I see with French knots is that people do the wraps and they're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. And they don't put the knot at the base of the needle and where the needle meets the fabric down there. You really need to shimmy that knot down. And that makes it so that the needle can go through really easily. You're kind of like setting yourself up for a good time, you know? And then you just continue. Left-handed is the exact same way, except you just do 2 wraps, okay? Now we'll do 3. Exactly the same way. 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't do more than 3. Some people like to do 4, but ooh, close call there, Tori. Follow your own instructions, babe. Can't wait to try it this way. I usually love French knots, but will love them more now. So perfect. If you have a way to do them and that you love doing them that way, then you can continue doing them the same way that you always do them. I've just found the way that works best for me, you know? Mez Crafts Portugal, perfect. I tried and it works very well. Oh, perfect. So I'm just going to go one more step over and show you like 4 times or 5 times or 6 times as a wrap. So again, 3 strands. Here's 4 times. You still get a knot, but what happens is that the threads that you wrap around here, they start to get too many strands, too many wraps, which creates more strands, okay? And it's only being held by 3 strands. Does that make sense? So when we go around the needle, let's do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It starts to get like do you see how it like is almost like flapping over? So let me just pull it tight. See how it gets like a taller, like an anthill, you know? Okay, so I'm not saying you can't do six wraps or 7 or 10. Maybe that's the look that you want. But to have a nice like little knot that kind of lays not flat because they are raised off the fabric. But just to have a nice like neat little knot pile. You make it look so easy. Well, give it a try. I promise you, if you follow the steps, it'll be good. Okay, so let's do 1 strand and you can see the difference. I've already got 1 strand here. I am using looks like the little poop emoji. Yes, exactly. So I've already got 1 strand here. When you do 1 strand, if you are going to do this, make sure you make your knot really big because the 1 strand, and if you just do 1 little knot at the end, it definitely falls through the fabric. So when you pull it, it'll just pull out. Okay, we'll do 1 wrap, 1 strand, and you get the tiniest little knots. Look at them, they're so cute. They'd be really great. I say it every time. You're probably going to be like, we know. But they're really great for like the seeds of a strawberry or something really, really tiny. Like if you want to have like the dot of an eye or something like that. French knots are great. You can really fill a lot of things with French knots. They give such a nice texture. So we're doing 2. I know this part is a little bit like, oh my God, we know, we see it, okay? We're doing it. Let's just do it on the pattern. But it's really great to see all the different sizes because, like I said earlier, I feel like that's going to be the new phrase for this stitch along. Like I said. But like I said earlier, sometimes if you only have X amount of threads on your needle, sometimes it's nice to have the grid so you can be like, oh, actually, I can just do 1 strand 3 wraps and 3 strands 1 wrap. They almost are the same size. So if you want to get the same kind of look, you can use different strands to achieve the same thing. So hopefully I'm making sense. Oh, I just tried to do another French knot on the back. Okay, and then now we've got 6. So we have 6 strands. And we'll do 1 wrap, 2 wraps, and 3 wraps. And then we'll get straight down to business with our filling in the rest. And I'll also show you the pistol stitch with this. So the pistol stitch is exactly the same as a French knot, except instead of going down right next to where you came up, you go down a ways away. So I'll show you that right at the end as well. So we've got 6 strands. You can tell it's 6 strands because it makes a bigger noise, doesn't it? So 1 wrap. Come on. Like, we can do it. We can do it. Let me just move this over because every time I keep almost catching my scissors in the extra thread down here. Now, the other thing to look out for is if you're continually doing French knots over and over and over, you're actually twisting the thread up. Let me do a couple more and then you can see what I mean. And as you twist the thread up, I'm gonna have to zoom out for it so you can see. As you twist the thread up, it'll start to do this because you're doing the same motion over and over and over. And this right here is another big reason why people get knots in their thread before or after their French knot. So what you should do is take your thread like this, and you see how the needle is twisting? It's untwisting itself. So it's almost like if you were on a swing and you twisted it and twisted it and twisted it and twisted it, and then you let it go and it untwists. It's just like that. So if you see your thread is doing this, yeah, you need to put your hoop in the air, let your needle dangle down, and it will take all those twists out. Okay, so we're at 6 strands, 2 wraps. And then we just got 1 more to do, and then we've got the pistol stitch. I don't ever use this hoop stand. Like, I haven't used it in so long. But I put it together a little bit backwards to my other one. So all the things are in the wrong spot. Okay, 3. So you can totally see that you get a big range of knots with the French knot. A lot of people think, oh, they're just French knots. Like, what really can you do with them? But you can really do a lot, and you can really achieve a lot of different looks. Okay, so we've got our whole grid here. Obviously, smallest here, biggest down here. The last thing to do is the pistol stitch. And like I said earlier with the pistol stitch, we'll just do 1 wrap so that you can see what it's like. Instead of going right next to, you go a ways away, okay? So wrap it, put it a ways away, shimmy it down like this, and pull it through. And you get a French knot on a stick, which is the pistol stitch. You can do 2 wraps. Oh, what? Or you can do 3. I find that with the pistol stitch, it's easier if you put your needle straight down and then pull your threads. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So those are the things we're going to do today. Now, if you're kind of like, how do I know what size? Oh, there we go. How do I know what size French knot to use? Okay, the first way is to look at your grid and see how big you want it to go. All right. Just move that over there. Take my brick back. Okay. So the first way, obviously, is to just kind of have a look. Like literally just say, oh, okay, maybe I want my knot to be like 3 strands, 2 wraps. I'll use that for these ones. And maybe I want some big chunky boys in here. So I'm going to do 6 strands, 3 wraps. And then for these here, maybe I want some bigger ones and the ones with the holes and smaller ones here. That's okay. You can do it that way. The other way is to just try it and not commit all the way, meaning don't pull your needle through. Just do it up to the part where you shimmy the knot all the way down and then stop and have a look. So let me just I've got 6 strands here because I want to do some chunky ones around this circle. Now you can do 1 ring of chunky knots. It's going to look like this. Okay, you can do 1 ring of chunky knots like that. Okay, Jessie's hair is on there. Perfect. Just a nice close-up of that. Or you can do a ring of really small knots and do 2 rings all the way around. Both are completely fine. Okay, so if you're like, my space is too wide, I can't fit just 1 knot, then do 2. Do 1 ring around it and then do another ring. And they don't have to be all in like a really neat pile like this. You could totally like stagger them around and just fill up the space however you want to. So don't ever feel like, oh, they're not neat and tidy, like in a nice, you know? And then for the woven wagon wheel roses, they end up looking like this. So if you get really nice big chunky knots, so that's 6 strands, 3 wraps, it will look like that. And again, you can pile them on top of each other so they almost make a pile. So you don't have to go like neat and tidy like this. Like clearly I've done a ring around and 1 in the middle, called it a day. And then this one, I kind of like layered them on top of each other. So they're like, they move, you know what I mean? They look like a big old pile of knots. And that both of them are fine. So let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay. And this is what I mean by trying but not committing. So you put your needle up. All right. Do your wraps. Pull it down and then just have a look. Okay? Because it will stay like that if you pull it snug. Not too tight, obviously, because you need your needle to go through the middle of the hole. So if you pull it so tight your needle can't go through, you need to take it out and redo it, okay? Because you need to be able to put your needle through. So do your 3 wraps, put your thing down, shimmy that down, and if you feel like that's a good size, yeah, I feel like that's a good size. So that's 6 strands, 3 wraps. Then you can go ahead and go back and pull it through. And this is also what I meant yesterday about all of these edges are going to be filled up. So as you go by, all the way around, I can't see where to put it. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do, because I just said I can't see, on the other side is I will go 1 little bit farther than I think. Okay, do my wraps, 1, 2, 3, and then put it down on this side so I can actually see where my knot is going to be, and then pull it down like that. You see a little bit better that way. Okay. And then you just continue. You just keep on going all the way around. And you can definitely mix and match. You don't have to do 6 strands, 3 wraps all the way around in the circle. You can do a mix of different kinds of knots. You could do different colors. Like, there's so much you can do. Like, don't limit yourself to, you know, one size or one color, whatever. You can mix like the orange. Why did I only do 2? You can mix the orange and the yellow. You could do like a dark red around a ring around. How cute is that though? Let me just let my needle dangle for a little bit. I think it's so pretty. It's like such an easy way to make like a nice impact, but also it like covers up any of your like mistakes with, not mistakes, but like if they're not neat and tidy here, cover it up. Now, if you don't have a hoop stand, you don't need them for French knots. But when you pull and shimmy your knot down to the base of your needle, where the needle meets the fabric, when you put your thumb down like this, that's when you'll pick your hoop up. So a lot of people are like, yeah, that's all good and well, but it's easy for you because you have a hoop stand. Actually, I don't use my hoop stand a lot, only for teaching, really. So most of the time, I'll either do that or I'll put the edge of my hoop on a table and then you put my stomach on this part. Yeah, so that it kind of like rests there. Or put it in my lap. I know someone said that they put the hoop between their knees. Like they sit on the sofa with their knees up like that, and they put the hoop between their knees like that, and that helps them a lot. I'm almost out of thread here, so let me do one more because I don't like having a super short thread with French knots. I like having the room to, and if they don't turn out that nice and tidy, then that's okay. But I like having the room to move my needle around. So if you feel like you're like being constrained by the shortness of your thread, then just tie a knot and get a new piece. Like don't fight it. You know, don't feel like you have to fight for like making it work, or if you're kind of thinking, oh, I have to use this piece, like just don't, you know? Get a new piece. You can always use the shorter pieces for something else. I'm just doing a little knot. Looks so nice. Thank you. I reckon I can fit 2 in here. Mez Crafts Portugal. I'd love to go to Portugal. We've been to Spain, but we haven't been to Portugal. Okay, so I'm not going to do this one because it's exactly the same as that one, okay? And we still have to finish our hoops up. So let's do a couple here, just so you can see what they look like. I'm just going to jump over because it's a light colored thread, so it should be all right. Meaning you won't be able to see through it to the back. Can't wait to finish mine in the daylight tomorrow. Yay, you must be from Australia then. Or in America anywhere in America, because it's like early there. It's early there everywhere. Another top tip is keep your fabric tight. Keep your fabric tight the whole time. Very good. Food, wine, and weather, Portugal says. Oh, I'm there. Let's go. When we're allowed to travel again, I think we might have to go, you know. Why not? Sure are. It's 7:30 p.m. here in Australia. There you go. I was right. But after I said Australia, I was like, oh my gosh, it's literally dark everywhere else in the world except right here. Like, but then I thought, well, actually, I don't know when the sun sets there. Whereas, like, I've been to America, because that's where I'm from. Oh, no. Stabbed myself. How do you stab yourself doing French knots? I'll find a way. You know? Where there's a will, there's a way. Let's do one in the middle here. I think there's enough room, but if not, it'll give a nice, like, stacked effect. There we go. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to do a knot, and then let's go over and do the pistol stitch on the other side. And I think I'm going to use 3 strands on that one. Look at the back of my hoop. It's wild. I like it though, so don't care. Let's do these ones. Ooh, Miriam says, oh my God, I love Portugal. I surfed there a few years ago. So beautiful there. Yeah, we've been to, where did we go? We went to Barcelona. We went to Rome, and we went to Naples, and we went to Valencia. Oh, Amelia was born in Portugal. Lots to chat about Portugal. Okay, so I've got 3 strands now, and we're going to do these ones. Now, the only thing that's not amazing about the pistol stitch is that it's hard to do a curve, because the pistol stitch is just, like I said, instead of going down right next to, you just go down farther away. So it's just like a French knot, all right? But that means that in order to get a curve to this line right here, you'd have to either couch it into place like that, which I can show you. It's just adding a small stitch to keep it in that area, or you just have to be happy with it being straight. Or you could do a couple back stitches and then a French knot or a pistol stitch at the very end. Now, I know a couple people, they don't do their pistol stitch like this. They do a fake pistol stitch. And you say, what's a fake pistol stitch? Okay, it's just a French knot with a straight stitch attached. So some people don't like the look of this. If you don't like how that looks, you can do a French knot with a straight line, straight stitch, boom. So, do you know what I mean? Like, you can kind of fake it till you make it in that kind of respect. So if you're not getting along with the pistol stitch, or you're like, I actually just don't like the look of it, if it doesn't look nice to you, or if you like the look of the French knots better, then just do a French knot and stick a straight stitch on it. Call it a day. Like, don't fight it. If you don't like it, find a different way to do it. So, why can't I do a knot here? There we go. I would say, though, if you are going to do it that way, match the thickness of the line to the strands. So this is 6 strands, 2 wraps, and that's only 3 strands, and that looks a little bit odd. So I would probably match it to like 3 strands, 2 wraps, or 3 strands, 1 wrap, because this is a very, very, very small line. It's very thin. So think about how you want it to look, okay? Now, these ones, I want them to come from the middle of the flower, so they're gonna start here. All right, and let's do 3 wraps on there and just see what it looks like. Because I wanna be able to see it. Cute. They look like little antenna, like little bug antenna. And you can make them different sizes. You could do like a straight stitch in a different color if you wanted to do. Let's just pull it down a little bit so that y'all can see. Okay, and then lastly, we've got these 2 little guys. Now, I still have some work to do with mine, so I'm not going to show you how to close this one up. I'll show you how to close a different one up, smaller. A smaller hoop, I mean. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Plus, it won't take as long. Okay, so let's do a little knot so that these will stay like that. Because like I said, the knot is kind of what keeps the knot. Okay, let's say this in a different way. The knot on the back is what keeps the knot on the front actually in the right space. So if you see that your very last French knot is a bit loose, it might be because you're not tying your knots tight enough. I hope that makes sense. Jesus. Say not more times. Okay, here we go. So this is what we have at the very end. Obviously, I need to finish my three little leaves that I've neglected for some reason. And then I need to put some French knots in the middle. I'm going to put some in all of them just to like obviously finish it. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and then show you kind of what you can do with your embroidery when you're done. Obviously, some of these things you need to have a think about before you even start. And then I'll show you how I tie up the back. And then that's the end. Can you even believe it? 2 weeks already. And we're done. So let me just find one that I'm done with that I haven't done the back on yet. We'll do this one from the abstract kit, and then I can hang it on my wall. Okay, so just a real quick chat about what you can do with them, and if you used X way to put the pattern on your hoop, then you need to do Y with it before you even start this, okay? So the first thing is if you use the Pilot friction heat erasable pen like I do, then you need to give this a nice blow dry. So I like to do blow dry the front, then flip it over, blow dry the back, and then do the front again, okay? And it should get rid of any of these lines that are still poking through. So for example, here, where I didn't actually follow the line that I drew, we need to heat that. We need to erase that, okay? And you erase that with a hairdryer. You can also erase it with a iron. It's not my favorite, and that's for a couple reasons, because irons get really hot, obviously. But if you didn't wash your fabric beforehand, you don't need to. It's not a requirement. But sometimes the fabric, if you iron it really, really hot, it will shrink a little bit. And when it shrinks a little bit, all these really nice tight stitches will actually, because the fabric is shrinking, your straight line will now become a hump like this. That can also happen if you use the sticky solvy. So a really good thing to do, yes, I'm still watching. So a really good thing to do with that is avoid the iron. The hairdryer works perfectly fine. if you used a water-soluble paper, like the transfer design type situation things, or like this, then you're gonna have to get the entire thing really, really wet. Now, if you're using white fabric like I am, then I would probably take the pattern out of the hoop. Sometimes when you get the wood hoops wet, it's only happened a couple times, but just be a little bit wary, because any kind of red or black, if you get it with hot water, can bleed a little bit. And I've actually had it where the hoop got really wet and kind of bled the yellow color onto my white fabric. So just have a little think about what you want to do. I like to use the Sticky Solvy with a darker fabric because I can leave it in the hoop, get it wet, take it all off, and it won't be a problem, and leave it to dry in the hoop. A lot of people like to stitch in plastic hoops with the Sticky Solvy so that they can just get it all wet in the plastic hoop, leave it in the hoop, and then your stitches won't be affected. So there's that. The other thing is to like have a little bit of a think about what you want to do with your embroidery before you start chopping it all up, okay? And what I mean by that is, normally after we're done, I like to kind of take off all of these raw edges. So I just like to trim it a little bit. But if you want to make it into like a banner, or if you want to use it as a patch and put it on like the back of a jacket or a bag, something like that, you're going to want to have extra fabric around here, okay? So that's another reason why I really like to close up the hoop the way that I do it, because you don't use glue. It's very easy to take it off if something happens to it. Like if you've got a cat and they like to paw things off the wall, it might fall off the wall and get a little bit dirty. That way you can take it out, give it a little clean off, and then, whoop, apparently I'm a cat, and then close it back up when you're done. So let me show you how to close up the back before I run out of time. So I've only got an hour, and then it won't save. So I can upload it to YouTube, which means that people will get to the end of their stitch along on YouTube and not have any, they won't have the last video. So what I like to do is, I don't like to measure, okay? This isn't like a scientific thing. I just like to cut off the raw edges. Just a little bit. You can also use pinking shears. Pinking shears are those scissors that have the zigzaggy, like triangle edges, okay? You can use that, and actually that will help your fabric to not fray. But if you don't have them, I do have them, but they're like from 1960s and they need to be sharpened. And I say that every single time I get to the end of the stitch along, because they're in a box upstairs and I just need to go sharpen them. And FYI, you can sharpen your scissors, any scissors, with tin foil. So you just take your tin foil, fold it up a bunch of times, and chop it with your scissors, and it will sharpen your scissors. So there's that. Okay, what I like to do after this, you can get any light colored thread. You can use a light yellow. You can use the light pink that we've been using. I'll use the light pink because that's easy. And I like to just lay it around like that. Let me put it up a little bit, or let's just zoom in actually. And I like to overlap like that. And then this is just all 6 strands. And you're not going to tie a knot at the end, because at the very end, we're going to tie these ends together. So I like to do a running stitch. So running stitch is just down and up, about that far away. You don't want to get it too close to the edge because it will pull through the threads of the fabric. And obviously I've missed a step, and the step that I've missed is to tighten your hoop one last time and tighten your fabric one last time, because if you actually have any kind of waves here in your fabric, it's not going to hold well, okay? Now, I'm not saying this is the best way. I'm just saying this is a way. This is the way that I like to do it. So if you like to do it a different way, then do it a different way. Okay, some people like to use glue, so cut it really closely and put glue on the edge. Some people like to do it this way that I'm doing and then add another layer of fabric or felt, or even like cardstock. They'll trace their hoop and cut it out. Some people like to put a piece of, so they do it like I do it, and then put a piece of cardboard on the inside. Some people have come out with like some MDF board type things, but I would really caution against that because a lot of times they won't fit every hoop. So I know a couple of businesses have started making those, and they've actually had to stop because people have bought them and they didn't fit in because every hoop is a little bit different. So I do like the cardboard method because you can cut it and trim it. I know my friend Hope does it that way, and I know she learned it from someone else. I can't think of who it was. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we're just doing the running stitch, in and out, and then we're going to pull those two ends. So make sure, sorry if this is making you dizzy. Yeah, a lot of people like to do a piece of felt in it, or some people like to take it out of the hoop and put an extra piece of fabric and then re-hoop it so you don't see the inside of your hoop. But I actually really like to see the inside of the hoop. I think it looks so pretty, and I think it's like pretty on the outside, and then the inside's like that's all your hard work. Like it's all like the chaos from the back and everything. So that's just, I mean, it's just what I like. You can do it a different way. And then obviously if you're making it into a banner, you can make it into a banner. I think I've shown this like 100 times, I swear. But obviously if you're going to do something like that, you kind of have to think about it before you get started, because if I wanted to make that one into a banner, there's not enough space, not enough fabric around it. So sometimes you need to have a bit of a think before you even start stitching. Okay, I can do maybe like 2 more stitches here and then we're done. Okay, so we've got the 2 ends here. See? And you're just gonna pull one and it kind of cinches them all together. All right? So if you've got a friend close or a child, it's really easy if you can have them put their finger there to make it super tight. If not, you don't really have to. But be careful, because as you pull these together, if you pull too tight, the threads will snap. They are cotton, so you kind of have to have a think about it. Now, the reasons, like I said earlier, I tell you, once you get it in your head, you can't stop saying the same words over and over again. It drives me mad. I can just see you guys at home being like, oh, Jesus, she said it again. Now, like I said, if this falls off the wall or anything like that, you can easily take this off. You can undo it, snip this out, pull it out, and you can kind of give it a wash or whatever you need to do. Get off of there. And then you can put it right back in, and it will be good. So there's that. If you want to hang it on the wall, there's a couple ways you can do that. The first way is to just put a nail in the wall like this. This is obviously my needle, okay? But you could pretend it's a nail. You could put a nail in the wall and hang it right between the hardware, like that. So it's literally just a circle on the wall. The other way that you can hang it, where is the twine? I used to have a small piece that was cut and everything. I'll just cut a new one. So the other way is you take a piece of twine, do a little knot on the end, and then put this loop here through the hardware. And then you can hang it like that. And then this way you can hang it from like a door. If you want to hang it on a door, you know, those like over the door hook things. You can hang it that way. You put it on like your doorknob if you wanted. Kind of hang down. This is a small one, obviously. So, or you can hang it on the wall like that. I know a couple of people like to hang them from their wall, or you can put a piece of tape over like this and tape it onto the wall. There's so many things that you can do with them, really. So, guys, that's it. We did it. We finished it. Well, I didn't finish. I barely finished these. Okay, just a couple comments here. The banner is so pretty. Miriam says pretty. You're a great teacher. This was so fun and relaxing. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. Trisha, I got up early here in the US to catch the end of your live. Thank you so much for the stitch along. You are a wonderful teacher. It's been so fun. Guys, I couldn't do this without you. So if you didn't sign up for them and you didn't stitch with me, it would literally just be me stitching by myself in my house. So really, I need to be thanking you because, oh, there's a cute little bird outside. It's so cute. Like a little squirrel here. Like, ooh. Where's Jessie to help? Oh my God. Oh, she'd be the worst helper for that. Yeah, so thank you guys for coming. I am really sad it's over. I do have a super fun announcement later in the day. If you want to stick around for that, hopefully I'll be able to get everything ready for it so that you guys can join too. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good time, and check back in with the Anchor Crafting Anchor Threads website because they have a lot more projects that you can do. So if you love embroidery like I do, go and check that out. I'm sure there's some of them are free like this one. And yeah, there's lots of other things, crochet patterns and knitting patterns. There's all kinds of stuff there. So yeah, check back there. You can also check my website if you want to. So there's lots and lots of options if you want to keep stitching. And as always, choose the anchor threads. I think they're so beautiful. They're so stunning. And yeah, I feel like they're worth it. So I won't be coming back today. It'll just be in my stories. So there's no more like live videos or anything like that for today. It'll just be just a little chat in my stories. So yeah, I hope I'll see you later for that. Be sure to tag me at the Barmy Fox. Guys, I don't want to leave, but I have to. Be sure to tag me at the Barmy Fox and show me your finished hoop. And please, please, please tag Anchor to show them your finished hoops. I'm sure that they love it. And they love like being able to repost all of your projects and everything. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed. Check out the hashtags. Be sure to comment. It's about community. Again, I couldn't do it without you. So, God, it's like I'm accepting an Oscar speech or something. Jesus, just chill. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment on everyone else's. Like I said, it's about community. So, we need each other. Okay? We need each other. I hope you have a lovely Friday, and I'll speak with you soon. All right? Bye. Bye, bye, bye.